everybody, and welcome back to the 2018 Granny Square Crochet Along. This is Jeanette, and today we will be making square number 247, Autumn Clusters 6. We adapted a larger square pattern to make it into this 6-inch square with permission from the designer, Aurora Suominen. She is Dragonfly Mom of Two. We will have all of her information in our description box. So let's go ahead and grab our hooks and our yarn and get started making this pretty square. Alright, so we'll start this square by making a slip knot and chaining 4. Okay, and then we are going to make 11 double crochets in the first chain that we made, the last chain from the hook. So go into that chain stitch and make 11 more double crochets. This remaining chain 3 will be your first double crochet. So we're going to make 11 double crochets into the first chain. That'll give us a total of 12. I just don't want to confuse anybody. So let's see. We should have a total of 12 when we're done. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's one too many. Okay, so 12. And then we join to the third chain of the chain 3 that's left. So right here at the very top. And you can adjust your stitches if you need to. That is what you should have at the end of the first round. Alright, for the second round, I am going to keep working in the same color. So we need to chain 2. If you're going to change colors, just fasten off after you join with your slip stitch, and you can join in the top of any double crochet and pick up right where I am right here. It doesn't matter which one you choose. So chain 2, go into the same stitch, and we're going to be making clusters, and this is the beginning cluster. This is your beginning cluster when you're making a 3 DC cluster all the way around, 3 double crochet cluster. So the chain 2 counts as your first double crochet. So this is your second one made halfway, and we're going to make the third. Just like that. Yarn over and pull through all the loops, and that is a beginning 3 DC cluster. So then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to make 3 double crochet clusters in the top of every double crochet. So there's 3 double crochets halfway. You should have 4 loops on your hook when you make three double crochet clusters, except for the beginning one. For the beginning one, you'll always have only 3 loops, but for the rest you should always have 4. So let me chain 1, and we are going to make 1 double crochet cluster in the top of every double crochet, and then chain 1. So at the end of this round you should have 12 double crochet clusters and 12 chain 1 spaces. So go ahead and finish that up, and I'll meet you back when we are ready to join. Okay, so I'm at the end of round 2, and let's see here. I have made my last cluster, chain 1, and join to your first cluster with a slip stitch. Now I'm going to fasten off here and change colors. If you'd like to continue in the same color, that's fine. If you want to change colors every round, that's totally fine. I kind of like having at least 2 rounds in the same color. That's just my thing. So there's my new color, and I think I pulled it through. Yep. Make it nice and tight. So if you are going to stay in the same color, which you can do the whole square in one color, that's totally up to you. What you would do after joining to the top of your first cluster is slip stitch over to the next chain 1 space. So that is where I am going to join my yarn, is in the chain 1 space. And pull it nice and tight. Alright, so now we are going to make another beginning 3 double crochet cluster. So our chain 2 is our first stitch. We go back into the same chain 1 space and make another double crochet halfway, and go back in and make a third double crochet halfway. And always the beginning 3 double crochet cluster will have 3 loops on your hook. So yarn over and pull through all 3, and there's your first cluster. And on this round, this is round 3. On this round, we will chain 2 in between our clusters, and they will all be worked in the chain 1 spaces that we have going all the way around. So let's go ahead and make our next cluster. Just like that, and chain 2. Our next cluster, 1 double crochet halfway, 2 double crochets halfway, and 3. 3 double crochets halfway, 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through all 4 loops and chain 2. So this is exactly the same as round 2. So I am going to leave you all to finish the round. And I will meet you when we are ready to join, right back here at the beginning. So we are now at the end of round 3. This is my last cluster, my last chain 2. So I am going to join into the top of the first cluster. And for this round, we do not chain. We just join with the slip stitch. If you are going to change colors, I would probably join that color in a top of a cluster, a different cluster than the one that you slip stitched into. It just might be a little too much. You'll kind of get a knot. It just won't look right. So if you're going to change colors, join in the top of any other cluster. Once you have your color joined with a slip stitch, you're going to yarn over, go into the next chain 2 space and make a double crochet, another double crochet, and one more for a total of 3. So we have 3 double crochets in that chain 2 space, and then we join to the top of the next cluster with a slip stitch, and we do it all over again. 3 double crochets in the chain 2 space, slip stitch to the top, and my yarn is splitting. Slip stitch to the top of the next cluster, 3 double crochets, in that chain 2 space, and slip stitch to the top of the next cluster. So you're just going to repeat this all the way around, and in case you're having the same problem, you can very clearly see that mine is curling up. Don't worry about it. It usually straightens out with the rounds that are going to follow. So it's not something to be too concerned about, and don't think you did something wrong. Sometimes they just do that to you. So go ahead and continue around, slip stitching into the top of your cluster, 3 double crochets in the next chain 2 space, slip stitch in the top of the next cluster, 3 double crochets all the way around, and I'll meet you back when we are ready to join. Okay, so we are at the end of round 4, and I've made my last 3 double crochets in that chain 2 space right there, and I'm going to change color in this round. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it is suggested by the designer that you change colors by pulling through your new color when you join into the slip stitch. So that's what I'm going to do. It is a very neat way to do it. Just pull that nice and tight. So our color is joined. Now we need to chain 5. That counts as our first double crochet, chain 2. We skip the next double crochet and back post around the next double crochet. like that, chain 2, and skip the next double crochet, and into the slip stitch we are going to work a double crochet, chain 2, and we're just going to continue that all the way around. Skip your next double crochet, back post around your next double crochet, chain 2, skip your next double crochet and double crochet into the chain space, and chain 2, skip a double crochet, back post around the next. My yarn is not cooperating today. Chain 2, double crochet into the slip stitch, you skip this double crochet into the slip stitch, chain 2, skip this double crochet, back post around the next, chain 2, skip the next double crochet into the slip stitch, chain 2. So just continue this all the way around. Just as we've been doing, and I will meet you back when we're ready to join. Okay, so we are at the end of round 5, and it should look like this. And I mean, you can see mine has a tendency to flip up. It will straighten out once we get the next few rows on, so please don't worry. And we need to get to our beginning chain of 5, and we are going to join with a slip stitch in the 3rd chain. So right here, and this is what you should have at the end of this round. So now on to round 6, and to start round 6 we need to slip stitch into the chain space, the very next one. Again, if you're going to change colors, that's fine. Just join with a slip stitch in any chain space, and then we are going to work our beginning cluster with a chain 2, double crochet worked halfway, and one more double crochet worked halfway. And yarn over, pull through your 3 loops, and then we chain 2. And we are going to work 3 double crochet clusters all the way around in the chain 2 spaces only. Chain 2 in the next space, we'll work our next cluster, like that, yarn over, pull through the loops, and then chain 2. In the next space we make our next 3 double crochet cluster, pull through your loops, and chain 2. And this is the pattern that we're going to be following all the way around. So I'm going to leave you to finish working this all the way around, and I will meet you back when we are ready to join. Okay, so we are at the end of round 6, and I am going to join to the top of the first cluster with a slip stitch. Oh, wait a minute. I did not do my last chain 2. Very, very important. There we go. Okay, so now I will join to the top of the first cluster with a chain 2. With a slip stitch. And I'm going to change colors, so I'm going to fasten off. Make sure you leave yarn tails long enough to weave in securely. Sometimes I do mine a little too short. Okay, so that's the end of round 6. And for round 7, if you're going to stay in the same color, working in the same color, obviously you wouldn't have fastened off. You would join into this cluster, the beginning cluster, and continue from there. But I'm going to change color. So if you're going to change like I am, you can join your new color in the beginning, in the top of any 3 double crochet cluster. So I'll just move over a little bit and I'll join there. Okay, so my color is joined. Pull nice and tight. And like I said, if you're continuing in the same color, you would just work right out of the top of the cluster that you joined into. So you can just follow from here. At this point, we're going to chain 4. And then in the same cluster, we're going to work 3 more, there we go, yarn over twice. We're going to work 3 more treble crochets. That first chain 4 counted as your first treble. So there should be a total of 4. Just like that. Then we're going to chain 3, and in the same stitch we are going to work 4 more trebles. And treble crochets are always worked by yarning over twice. This is the last one, and that is our first corner. So now we chain 1, and we are going to work 1 double crochet into this chain 2 space, and 1 double crochet into this cluster, and 1 double crochet into the next chain 2 space. And now we are going to work 5 single crochets. So the first one is in this cluster, the next one is in the chain space, the next one is in the cluster, the fourth one is in the chain space, and the last one, the fifth one, is in this cluster. So it should look like that. And then we are going to work a double crochet in the chain space, a double crochet in the cluster, and a double crochet in the next chain space, and chain 1. And now we are going to work our next corner in this cluster. So yarn over twice and work 4 trebles into that cluster. Just like that. Chain 3, and 4 more trebles. And this is how we are going to square out our circle. So we are going to repeat these stitches all the way around to create our 4 sides. And my yarn has gotten stuck. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So this should be the last treble crochet. And you might have to finesse your stitches a little, but this is what you should have so far. And you can see we're starting to straighten out. So once you've worked this corner, you're going to chain 1, double crochet in the space, double crochet in the cluster, double crochet in the space, and then 5 single crochets. So a single crochet in the cluster, 1 in the space, 1 in the cluster, 1 in the space, 1 in the cluster, double crochet in the next space, double crochet in the next cluster, double crochet in the next space, and that'll bring us to the next cluster where we work our 3rd corner. So just continue all the way around, and I will meet you back when we are ready to join. Alright, so here we are at the end of round 7, and I've made my last double crochet and I chained 1. So now we are going to join to the top of the chain 4, which was your first treble crochet, and I'm going to join with a slip stitch. Now if you have reached the size that you need, 6 inches, or if you're trying to make them a little larger or a little smaller, if this reaches the size that you need, you can stop here if that's what you want to do. There is one more round, and it's a border round. It's all single crochets all the way around. You slip stitch into the beginning chain 4, and then slip stitch all the way over to your corner space, the chain 3 space. If you are going to stay in the same color, this is what you would need to do. And I am going to stay in the same color. If you want to change colors, you would fasten off here where you joined in this stitch, and then just join in any chain 3 space with a slip stitch. So once you are in your chain 3 space, you need to chain 1 and work 3 single crochets in that chain 3 space. And then we are just going to single crochet all the way across, 1 in each stitch, and that includes your chain 1 spaces. They count as a stitch. So I've just single crocheted in my 4 trebles, and here is my chain 1, and I just go right into that space and make another single crochet right in the space, and just continue all the way across, making 1 single crochet in each stitch. And I will work with you guys till the next corner, and then I'm going to leave you to continue on your own, and I will meet you back when we are done with our squares, ready to slip stitch. Alright, that was the last double crochet on this side, and the chain 1 is right here, so just go right into the space and make your single crochet. Single crochet into the next 4 trebles, and there we go. We are at the next corner chain 3 space. So 3 single crochets go into your corner. And you know, some of our squares will need some blocking, and that's okay, but this is what you should have once you finish the first side. That's how it should look. So go ahead and finish up the other 3 sides, and I will meet you back when we are ready to join where we started. Okay, here we are at the end of round 8, our single crochet border round, and we just need to join with the slip stitch into our first single crochet, and we are done. This is square number 247, Autumn Clusters 6. The pattern was adapted from Miss Aurora, Dragonfly Mom of 2. All of her information will be in the description box. I hope you guys enjoyed making this one as much as I did. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you all again next time. Bye.